Hello, podcast lovers. Get your sweet tooth ready because on this episode of JJ Meets World, we're going to talk about Halloween candy with an in-depth taste test, starting with gummy bears. Sit back, relax, and enjoy yourself something delicious and sugary. This is JJ Meets World. And by the way, if you'd like to help support our podcast, visit jjmeetsworld.com where you can donate to our Patreon, pick up some killer swag at our merch shop, or click the link to Apple Podcast and give us a 5-star review.
1, 2, 3, 4. J.J. Gordon, sort of like that Indiana Jones, in that he's always sniffing out his next adventure. Yes, he is. He's always interviewing guests so he can have them on his show and they can talk about pop culture, arts, and leisure. J.J. has his flag unfurled and he likes his french fries curled, and he's fun and then he twirled as he goes to meet the world. He will march into the rain even if his ankle sprained. Take a peek inside his brain. This podcast is called JJ Meets World.
Not that I'm like itching to go bowling anytime soon.
But if you've got the sporting equipment, you might as well use it, right?
At some point. Or at least find like an actual legitimate bowling ball bag for it. So
Wait, you got a loose ball hanging
It's just
around?
a loose ball. It's like sitting in the bottom of a tub somewhere with a bunch of other shit.
Oh. What's the poundage on it?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Maybe 11?
It's been so long
10?
since I'm sure,
Probably 10.
I'm sure it would be carved into it, right? They would say the number. It says Mother Tucker on it.
Is it a Brunswick?
I
That's
don't
a
remember.
popular brand.
Again, it's I'll need to dig it out now.
Can we do an episode of JJ Meets World where we bowl a game?
Sure.
While just having
We'll
a
use
discussion?
those roads.
Yeah, I love that idea.
Yeah, I love that idea too.
Tucker, in front of you, I have given a lot of candy, but I want to start with this. The official JJ Meets World gummy bear taste test, because as we know, Haribo Gold Bears are the gold standard when it comes to gummy bears. Okay. So it's got the best taste. They're not like kind of oily on the tongue. But that being said, Albanese has now put itself into the ring of potentially the best gummy bear on the market.
I see they're leaning into gluten-free, fat-free, low sodium, the health-conscious gummy bear eater.
12 flavor gummy bear cubs. And so these are cubs versus Haribo Gold Bears. So I'd like us to start with the Haribo, please.
And then Lifesavers Gummies just doesn't give a fuck.
They give me the worst heartburn.
Yeah,
honestly,
like,
the gummy
Lifesavers.
bear
You don't want
or the gummy Lifesavers. Okay,
Can
so
I?
please.
The first thing I need to say, actually, I need to cleanse my palate just slightly.
Yeah,
here.
take a little sip, little sip of coffee.
But also, I have a weakness when it comes to gummy snacks in that I can't eat them one at a time.
Yeah, you eat
like
the
when
whole
I get
handful.
one of these things, this goes down the hatch and it's like a shot. Like
I'm in the same boat. Okay,
so you're starting with Haribo?
Yeah, and let's analyze the bears that we have in front of us here. So Haribo has
Call them treat size.
has 5 flavors. The clear are pineapple, the orange are orange, the yellow are lemon, the green are strawberry, and the red are raspberry.
I think these are.
So I've got 2 strawberries, a lemon, a pineapple, and a raspberry. So I have everything. What am I missing? I'm missing an orange. I don't have any orange.
I don't have an orange either, but I've got basically what you've got. All right, down the hatch.
Ready? Here we go.
These are a little tough.
It came out of one of those huge bags of Halloween candy, which really, in all honesty, they probably just pull off the shelf on November 1st and then to give back. So maybe they're old. Kids and grown-ups love it, so ... What is their slogan?
I don't know. I'm feeling lukewarm about this one. This didn't have the effect. I think it's because maybe they're too stiff. They're not gummy enough.
I should have put them in my back pocket and sat on them for a while. Because, that's how you bring a gummy bear back to life. So I'm going to take a little sip here and cleanse my palate.
Your cleanser palette is a Diet Coke and mine is black coffee.
Yep.
Are both of our cleansers bullshit?
Yeah. I mean, all we're doing
water.
is swishing away chunks.
It needs to be water because we're putting a flavor profile in. You're hitting the Albanese next?
Albanese, made in the USA, as you said, gluten-free, fat-free, low sodium. There are 12 flavors that you can find in here.
Yeah, so that last pack only had, 5 bears in it?
Right. So the flavors that you can find in this are cherry, strawberry, mango, pineapple, lemon, orange, green apple, watermelon, pink grapefruit, lime, raspberry, or blue raspberry, and grape. Due to the size of bag, may not contain all 12 flavors. It's a warning on the bag already.
Yeah, I've got a cornucopia of them.
Now, you definitely get more gummy in this than you got in the Haribo bag.
At least twice as much.
I mean, twice as many individual bears, but I feel like even just like the quantity itself feels like it's greater than.
I think that I think they're both mean the same thing.
This is net weight 0.4 ounces, net weight 0.5 ounces for Albanese. So already they're giving you a 1/10 of an ounce more. Okay.
That's good.
So you're going to pop them all in your mouth?
At once.
All right, go for it.
I'm already on Team Albanese.
No, not just because they're softer, but because you're having a flavor explosion.
Mm-hmm.
You can really
within a
taste
microsecond
flavor.
of eating it. Like I was like, oh, 100% Albanese. This is way better. Way better of an experience than Haribo.
And like, my God, I want to turn this into a cereal. You know?
So do you think, I mean, did it start with like Haribo was making bears and then a couple brothers who were there got disgruntled and so they went, we're going to go make our own. And they just went across the street and called it Albanese.
Klaus, we must start our own company to making the gummy bears. Why you talk like that, Steven? You sound like an idiot.
I know they're not bears, but are we comparing the Lifesaver gummies?
We can throw these into the mix. Now, these are substantially more, I believe. What we had for the size of the bag. They're really trying to hide it.
You got to shake every bag. You just have to.
Yeah, I noticed that you're shaking it like a Polaroid picture. It looks like this. Ooh. The flavors you can have are watermelon, green apple, cherry, strawberry, and orange.
Now, in the hand, this feels much more substantial.
Does it?
I like it.
Now, I'm serious. These give me, like, I found this out one summer when I was building ticket booths down at WeFest. These were a go-to for Phil Goodell and I on our road trip down to the lakes area, and they give me heartburn like there is no tomorrow.
What do you think it is about them? Is there too much citric acid in it or something?
Let me find out.
I can't see instruction or
no, there are no ingredients listed on the back. Is Lifesaver saying we're freaking lifesavers? We don't have to follow the rules.
I think they're saying Google that shit.
Do you ever wear a Lifesaver as a ring?
No.
Look at my green apple ring there. It looks like I'm trying to like give a dog an enema.
We only have 5 rings each, but
no, I have 6 rings.
We have 6. I've got 5, but it feels way heavier than both the 2 previous ones combined. And I've
got a light green and a dark green, so I'm guessing one of the light. What would one of the light greens be? I don't know. Okay, well here we go.
I'm hitting it.
Now, see, I don't know if I can do all 5 of these together.
You can.
So it's an aggressive amount. Now, how's the flavor?
Not as pronounced as the Albanese.
Nope. I don't like this. This has got a film on them. There's a film surrounding each of these individual Lifesaver gummy rings.
They tasted bland, I thought. I think Albanese 100% wins. If I was to go out and buy a large amount of gummy bears today, I would get Albanese.
I almost don't want to finish these.
Just swallow them.
It's awful.
You're not in a food commercial. Okay, are you more on Team Sugary Sweet or are you more on Team Chocolate?
I'm Team Chocolate.
I am Team Chocolate as well.
So much so that when I brought a bag full of candy for this episode, I was worried that the fruitness would influence the taste of the chocolate in the mere 5 minutes they were intermingled in the bag, because people make that mistake. They're like, oh, I put all my chocolate in with my Skittle packets and be like, no, you fool.
So did I ever tell you about the app I've wanted to develop, the trick-or-treating app? It probably already exists and I just haven't looked it up.
Do tell.
It's one where either houses can opt in and report, or you as the trick-or-treater can report to the app, hey, this is the candy they're giving out at this place. Mm-hmm. And so if you want, you could actually cast a wide net for a territory and go, I am on the hunt for Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Who is reporting? Oh, there's a lot of Reese's Peanut Butter Cups activity over here. Mm-hmm. Mom, take me over there, right? And that you could, and then I both because I think you could really hone in on and create some competition for who's giving the best candy. Mm-hmm. I think that's the idea here is show who's really making Halloween special for those trick-or-treaters. Really amp up the pressure on these homes to start doing full-size candy bars, soda pops, whatever, mm-hmm. right? Slices of pizza. Like you start giving these kids some good stuff because they deserve it.
And by being on some kind of an app. Now, the neighborhood app does do this. it shows what houses are giving out candy, what houses are not. So like you can opt in the neighborhood app and say like, yeah, we're giving out candy, or we've got a haunted house experience here. It doesn't detail though what it is. And that's really, I mean, that's the genius of your app is getting into
And
the
you
idea
can,
of like,
and
okay,
you can self-report on your phone.
right. Like this house may say they're giving out candy, and then you show up and they're like, help yourself to a York peppermint patty or an almond joy.
Yeah.
And you go, what a waste of a ding dong.
Yeah. Yeah. Almond Joys were out by 9 p.m.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
like 1 star, you know, or you can even be like, yeah, they didn't have any fucking decorations up.
Yeah. Or I rang twice and they didn't get off their chair because they were watching Monday Night Football.
But I also would be fascinated to then look at the data generated from a certain Halloween and go, wow, here are the places in the area where like Snickers were really heavy. Like for some reason, this area over here is really doing Twixes or Skittles. That'd be interesting to see.
I've got a real conundrum in my neighborhood, which is JJ Gordon gives out full-size candy bars, full-size cans of pop, and then sometimes even toys. Like there's some fun toys. Jill used to go, the first year we had our house, something extremely tragic happened. Jill had never had a place where people trick-or-treated because even at her little farmhouse, it's not like they got a lot of traffic out there for people who are
sure.
trick-or-treating, right? So she went all out. She must have spent like $100 on candy. And I'm talking about little tiny IV bags that are filled with blood, but that's actually like jelly, you know, that you can eat. Severed finger gummies. I mean, she went all out on the candy, and we didn't have a single trick-or-treater. Not a single one. Now, we lived pretty close to a major roadway, so maybe they're like, oh, kids, don't go down by the big street. Don't cross. So the next year, and then we ended up having to call a friend who's like, hey, listen, are you out with your kids trick-or-treating? Because if they come, we're literally going to dump the entire bowl into their bags. And those kids' eyes got so wide.
How decorated was the outside of your house?
Very decorated.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's weird then. Because I would, when thinking back to my trick-or-treating days, if someone tricked out the front of their house, they're celebrating the holiday.
I think the problem was that
That is a safe space for tricking or treating.
we had several neighbors who must have just gotten to the point of where they're like, we don't even bother anymore. And so lots of lights turned off on our block. And so I understand from those children why they wouldn't hit up our block. Now, when we moved into the house I was in, my mom used to keep a tally. And I think the most is like we had 500 trick-or-treaters in one night.
Damn.
Yeah. And my mom was an all out. She would go and get a giant bottle of helium, blow up balloons, tie them to like full bags of sunflower seeds and all sorts of stuff. And so like kids got an experience when they came to the Gordon household. So much so that the first year after my mom had passed, my mom died on October 20th. And so we knew someone was going to have to be at her house on October 31st. And so I gave my sister the
You guys
job.
want to see a ghost?
Right. Well, exactly. That was the thing. I was like, flick the lights and then like have the kids at the end of the block being like, she died.
Mother!
She died in there.
Mother!
So my sister, I sent her a message saying like, show me the bowl that you have the candy in. And she had it in a plain metal bowl. And I'm like, now, Chrissy, this is the thing. You need to honor our mother because she would never have chosen a plain metal bowl. She would have had something with some pizzazz to it.
Yeah, it would be teal.
Right, teal or like mosaic on the outside. I mean, it would have been, or an actual cauldron of some kind.
Yeah.
That's a very Patty Gordon thing. So we move into this new house, and we have 2 good years of trick or treats, and it's great. And like, oh, it's glorious. We got kids running up all the time. I'm running into friends who've got kids now who happen to still live in the neighborhood. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And then we'd have beer for the adults. Be like, you want a Busch Light? Got a cold one here for you. It's gonna be a long run.
Daddy, your parole officer said you're not supposed to. It's okay tonight, honey. I'm
Be
allowed.
quiet.
Daddy's allowed to on holidays.
Don't
That's
tell
the
your
law.
mom's friend Ray about
That's
this.
the law.
So we ran into the problem the last 2 years where some assholes a couple blocks away actually block off the whole street. They get the street shut down, so like detour, road closed signs.
Oh.
And so kids can go nuts on like 3 blocks, like running back and forth. There's no car traffic.
Oh, I see.
And people like are like, oh yeah, and we're gonna give you extra treats. And so even if there's a house that's not participating, if there's the Ebenezer Scrooge of Halloween, I don't know what that
Still
person
to
would
opt
be named.
in some way, though, I guess.
They don't. That's the thing is like kids just will ring the doorbell. Nobody's there. Maybe they're out.
No. I mean, if like access to your home is blocked, right? Like if you need to be able to come and go, well, I'd love to leave my home, but unfortunately I can't because trick-or-treating is happening.
Right. I mean, I think you could probably get out if you needed to because there's an emergency situation, like, and then you look and you're like, nurse, could you help me? You're like, I'm not a nurse. I actually work at Barnes Noble, but this is my costume today.
Well, do you remember the most amazing you ever felt as a kid when you got into your Halloween costume? Like what that costume was when you put it on and you were like, this is the best ever. Best day ever.
I don't know if I ever as a child
Never?
had that costume. I know for you, it's clearly the Turtles costume that your grandmother made you,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, that was the closest thing to getting like an actual mascot style costume.
My grandmother played bingo and didn't know how to cook or sew.
Yeah.
So I never got to experience those things.
Oh, dude. I mean, it's like if only I could resurrect Mama Luke right now, so I could force
Make
her
a
to make
costume
me
for
another
you.
costume because she had a great run. It was Donatello in kindergarten, or no, first grade. So what was it in kindergarten? Oh, kindergarten, I was just a ghost, I think, since she didn't make that one. So first grade Ninja Turtle, second grade Batman.
Oh.
Based off of the Michael Keaton. And I loved my costume so much, and then I threw up on it at school in the bathroom. That was sad. I also embarrassed myself playing bingo. All these Halloween memories are flooding back to me right
Playing
now.
bingo?
Yeah.
Like you didn't have a bingo?
No,
and you yelled bingo?
No. We started playing bingo. We were all in costume. Mrs. Munn's class, second grade.
Mrs. Munns?
Mrs. Mund. And she goes, right, let's play bingo. Gives out the cards and calls the first thing. Let's call it, B12 or whatever. And I had it. And I went, I have it. And I raised my hand. And she goes, you don't have to say that. You can just mark it down on your thing. And the entire class laughed at me. And I was Batman.
No, I was in second
I
grade.
was second grade. Third grade, I was Wolverine. And I loved my costume, except they made me keep sleeves on it. So I couldn't have the bare arms with gloves that Wolverine had. So I had yellow sleeves going down. But I think I still have pieces of that costume in a bag somewhere. Fourth grade was the Red Power Ranger. When she made everything except for the helmet, we just took an old motorcycle helmet and spray painted it. And that was when you're going through the phase of, hey, you're getting to be too old to do this anymore. Mm-hmm. That was the last time. So those 4 years, Mama Luke made me my superhero, whichever one I was into at the time.
Okay.
Are you jealous?
I don't remember any of my Halloween costumes. I know that I went in drag a couple of years. And that was fun because I took my grandma who had Alzheimer's.
Well, is that
I
why
took
you've been
her
so
stuff.
committed to the John Candy shtick? Mm-mm. By the way,
That didn't start until I was in my 30s.
York Peppermint Patties.
Uh-huh.
I was so impressionable as a kid through advertising. When I would see the commercials for York Peppermint Patties, I'd be like, I need that. I want that candy. I want that chocolate. And I'd ask for it, and my parents would say, no. Like they would just say, no, you can't have it. And I never figured out why. And so even to this day, when I see one, I know what I'm in for, which is disappointment. But I get excited for a moment because I think of when I was a kid and I saw the ads for these. And I thought, wow, they're having a great time.
I always thought, what would you do for a Klondike bar? I was like, oh my God, these people would do anything for a Klondike bar? I better have one. And then I was like, never mind. Okay. I'm working on this $100,000 right now, which is very caramel heavy.
I never eat those. What?
It's caramel with like a Nestle Crunch.
Oh, I should be eating these all the time then, because I
You
love
like Nestle
I
Crunch?
love all that stuff.
You
Yeah.
love, okay, well, you can try that. Let's talk about Halloween candy
Yeah.
from the get-go. You, I know, are a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup man.
Mm-hmm.
That is your choice. Now, in the last 15 years, Reese's has decided to really like put their R&D department through the ringer because they've come up with all these different Reese's. But in my opinion, they perfected the Reese's adjacent peanut butter cup in 1996. In 1996, they released a Reese's with a cookie cup bottom. So essentially what they did is they took like the top of an Oreo and put that at the bottom so that when you bit into it, not only do you get your chocolate and peanut butter, but then you get this chocolate wafer cookie at the bottom. It was perfect. I don't understand why they got rid of them. They were perfect. And so easy, right? Because all you're doing is putting that lower layer of chocolate in, dropping it in the cookie, and then you do the peanut butter. And I mean, the machinery didn't need to be drastically changed like it does when you add freaking Reese's Pieces to the middle of it.
Well, they've been experimenting with textures. So the other day I tried one that had potato chips in it because they have that, and one that had pretzels in it. And the potato chips just tasted crunchy. It was like the potato chips don't really bring anything except the texture, which I love a crunchy texture in my food. I just do. It's pleasurable. But the pretzel one is like, oh, this really stands out and adds flavor profile to it, and I like it, but in moderation. This is not my go-to. My go-to is still going to be like the four banger, right? That's the one that I want. That's the one that I'm going to end the day with if I need some sugar, if I need that whatever that dopamine rush is you get from it.
For Reese's, when it comes to the different holidays, because you can get the Reese's eggs leading up to Easter. They've got the Reese's pumpkins. They've got the Reese's Christmas trees. What do you think is the superior? I'm still trying to get this 100 grand bar down my throat.
It was super chewy. But
What
it was
do you
tasty.
think is the king
of the other
Reese's, the holiday Reese's?
It's probably Easter.
I agree. I think the egg is the best.
Yep, I think it's just something about it, that the decadence of it.
I think you get more peanut butter with the egg than anything else, like the Christmas trees or the pumpkins.
It's either that or it's just the ratio is different. There's just so much less chocolate, so you definitely get more of the peanut butter profile. But I could pop those things all day long. I really could. I mean, I'm surprised I haven't eaten this yet.
Yeah, you've got a Reese's in front of you.
Yeah.
In fact, let's talk about the chocolate offerings that come in the. I bought a bag of small candy and a bag of chocolate candies. The chocolate candies include Twix, a 100 grand, M&M, both peanut and plain, a Reese's peanut butter cup, a Snickers, and a York peppermint patty.
You know, I've been actually really finding a renewed interest in M&M's plain.
Really? Okay, because you're gonna get my M&M's plain bag. You toss me the peanut. There we go. That's a good partnership right there.
Yeah, I mean,
as a
love
kid,
I love the peanut.
do you want to hear something about my? Okay, I am a king size candy bar connoisseur. That's probably why I ended up plumping up so much as a youngin'. So I hated peanut M&Ms growing up. They were the worst thing you could give to me other than a York peppermint patty. Because I'm like, I don't want a peanut. I just want the chocolate. And they're shaped weird, and like maybe it's because I was becoming the shape that a peanut M&M is.
you were relating too much to that character
Right?
in the commercials. Because you and I could go as those guys for Halloween.
We could. Oh, we should think about that at some point. You can go as the red M&M, and I'll go as the yellow.
Yeah.
Do you ever see the drunk uncle segments that they used to do on SNL's Weekend Update? And he goes, you know what I do like about Christmas? A sexy green M&M. It's like the sexy green M&M. Anyway, as an adult, though, not only do I enjoy AM radio, but I have found an extreme enjoyment in almond Hershey bars. The Hershey's with almonds is my. It's the one that if I'm going to have a chocolate bar, that's what I'm going to have. Now, I don't consider Snickers a chocolate bar. I consider it a candy bar. It has chocolate, but it also like it's not the chocolate that makes it the Snickers. It's the combination of everything together. But like a Hershey's bar is a chocolate bar.
Okay.
Right?
I
You see
what you're saying.
My designation between those?
Yep.
And so if I'm going to have a chocolate bar.
Does Wikipedia agree with you?
You know what? I don't trust those long-haired hippies who moderate the internet these days. Now, you're going into the Snickers bar, and I noticed you ate the whole fun-size Snickers bar one bite. Are you tasting the peanut and the nougat and the caramel, the well-balanced, the thin chocolate layer on the outside? So
Snickers they better never change their recipe by like one fraction. By a millimeter. They shouldn't change it at all. It is so calibrated. Every Snickers bar tastes like every other Snickers bar. And only Snickers tastes like that.
I want to do a thing for this year. I'm doing my radio show live from a bar on Halloween because we're giving away
What day is Halloween, by the way? Wednesday?
Tuesday. Day after this comes out.
I just need to know the day that I need to make it look like no one's at my house.
Right. Because didn't you put out a bowl of candy like last year?
The first year I was at this house, I did, and it got emptied out immediately. And I was really hoping, like, I bet not all kids are like that. No, all kids are like that.
And here's the thing. I think the statement's wrong. It's not all kids, but there is definitely one kid who's like that amongst every demographic.
It might as well be all kids. It's
Right.
all of their fault. Why are they not reining in his behavior?
Right. And also, I think the adults do. I think, like, if an adult sees a bowl full of candy up there and be like, just, take a couple handfuls. Mm-hmm. It's all right. I don't care that it's my neighbor. I don't care that recently he was put into a wheelchair and now he can't get to the door easily, but he still wanted to enjoy kids getting delicious treats from his house. It's like, you're the worst neighbor ever, Carrick.
Maybe what? Actually, I'm gonna finish chewing before I.
Yeah, where are you working on right now?
M&Ms.
Playing M&Ms? Mm-hmm. So, long story short, I was going to say, now the peanut M&M is my favorite M&M. But, okay. I've talked about M&Ms before on this podcast. So much so that a good listener, hey, Tim, dropped off some M&Ms for me. Here's what I like to do. There's the M&Ms with, like, the crunchy little, like, Rice Krispies inside. There's the M&M caramel. There's the M&M peanut. The plain M&Ms and the peanut M&Ms. I buy a bag of each and put them together in a big bowl, and it's like... It's like winning the lottery because you're getting to experience all the flavors at the same time.
Yeah, it's like mixing all the sodas together.
Oh, it's truly decadent. It's truly, truly decadent. Okay, so the year that you put out something, even though it got taken right away, what was in the bowl?
Didn't we just talk about this? Or maybe it was the episode that we lost. I can't remember. I had actually asked friends on Facebook, like, hey, what would help me stand out besides, obviously, full-size candy bars? So there were Snickers in there, either Butterfingers or Milky Way, something like that. Butterfinger is a nod to my grandfather on my mom's side. Chocolate fanatic. Love chocolate. Primarily Butterfinger and Hershey's. And so that he was just known for always constantly going for it. So I put out Butterfingers in honor of Grandpa Mac.
A lot of recovering alcoholics love chocolate. Not that I'm saying that your grandfather was a recovering alcoholic.
I think he was a functional alcoholic on some level in that I would know he wasn't really an alcoholic. Really, he was a gentleman drinker and smoker. He was a guy who's like, oh, it's 5 p.m. Might as well. Time to, have a couple sips of this little glass of scotch before I go have dinner, and then continue to work on that for the rest of the night. While I work on this cigar I've been working on for the past couple days and watch baseball on mute.
I know that there's a fair amount of people who observe a cocktail hour. My grandparents were people like that. Down at the lake at like 5 o'clock, they'd walk over to friends' houses or friends would walk over to their place. And before you know it, there's like 12 people all sharing like a hot toddy on the front porch. Tucker, you may not know this, but you've actually influenced my feeling when it comes to the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup based on a story you told me from years and years and years ago when you lived in an apartment with two other people and one of them brought Reese's Peanut Butter Cups back. And I would like you to regale the audience if it comes to your mind.
Yeah, it was, I can't remember if Brad and I were living with Sarah or with Shay at the time.
I believe you were living with Shay.
And yeah, Shay brought back a bag, like a large bag of the mini peanut butter chocolate Reese's cups from like a Halloween or something. And they didn't last in the house more than 9 hours before they were just gone. And one of our roommates just never fessed up to being
the one who ate it all?
Who fucking murdered an entire bag overnight. And at that point, I was like, I'm just more shocked and worried about you than anything, man. But he had done that once with lefse that my grandmother had made.
Really?
Yeah. It happened a couple of times, but...
Now, was part of this a nighttime snack, or was it during the day? Like he just kept.
All I
back?
know is a sleep would pass and it would be gone.
Sure.
That's all I know.
The interesting thing to me about a treat is like I've watched people who go and like have like a small slice of pie, but then they have another small slice of pie, and before you know it, like you should have just had a regular slice of pie.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm able to summon willpower when it comes to amazing food, but. Dude, ever since I was a little kid, I just inhaled food. I just did. And It's such a bad
Which is
habit.
weird because inhaling food is usually a sign that you were a part of a large family. And if you didn't eat as fast as you could, you may not get a possibility for seconds or even to finish the things that are on your plate.
Right.
Don't sleep on the Twizzler when it comes to candy.
I am not going to touch the Twizzler because I don't like them.
What?
Remember, we've talked about this before.
Just licorice in general?
You can have that one. I will try this sour
The
punch,
sour punch straw?
but licorice in general, I think, is really gross. I don't understand why people like it.
The thing I like about licorice is it's been around for so long.
It's like beets. It's like, what the fuck is this? Get this out of here.
You don't like beets?
Fuck beets. Are you kidding me?
You got me. No, you. This is some kind of a joke.
Please.
You could eat beets.
No, I've eaten beets and they're fucking atrocious, and I'll never do it. It's one of those things like
A pickled beet on the side of your plate, you don't think that's classy as can be?
no, get that fucking poison off my plate.
Okay. I mean, I thought I knew you, but.
I
Have you eat the whole sour punch straw?
I'm about to. I'm not digging it, but I'm gonna go through.
Why? It's virtually just like a gummy punch straw, or it's a gummy straw with like sugar and sour on the outside. So, okay.
I don't.
Is
I don't-
sour the thing? You don't like sour?
I don't pursue sour
Okay.
with candy.
I would like you to. put
Oh my
this-
god! Why
this-
am I having a visceral reaction?
I
to that one?
I would like you to put this warhead in your mouth.
No, I've
And
had this before.
there's a garbage can right next to you, and if
No.
you can't take it,
No, I know
But
I
I'd
can't
like to
take
see how long you can keep it in there and talk. Now you can choose black cherry or watermelon. Which is it?
watermelon.
Okay, here you go.
God damn it!
Now get the garbage
We're
can
gonna
ready.
wait. We're gonna wait a minute because I just.
Do you need to
choked
clean
that-
your palate? You need to throw a little coffee in there.
I need to forget about how bad of an idea this is gonna be,
I love this
so that I can just
idea.
run into it. You know, I just watched this morning, a reaction video of The Undertaker and Mick Foley watching their famous Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah.
Where it was like the most legendary thing that ever happened because Mankind almost like died like 3 different times as they were doing it. I feel like I'm Mankind right now, just going like, this is for the entertainment. Ugh, god damn it.
Oh my God. Okay. There's a warning on this. Warning: eating multiple pieces within a short.
Fuck that.
You couldn't even take it.
Fuck that.
Is it? Is it his mouth for? I barely even touched his taste buds.
Fuck that. That was so gross. It's still in there.
Oh,
It tastes like bile.
that was delightful for me.
Dude, I couldn't even for
Okay, so this is the rest of the warning. Warning: eating multiple pieces within a short period or
God
short
damn it.
time period may cause a temporary irritation to sensitive tongues
Yeah.
and mouths.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, I'll tell you why you don't like this. It's distributed by Impact Confections Incorporated in Janesville, Wisconsin. Janesville
Oh yeah,
can go screw itself.
that answers everything. I have no
Janesville's
issue with
awful.
anyone in Wisconsin.
You would if you had to stop in Janesville.
Is it like Gary, Indiana?
It is.
Okay.
It's the Gary, Indiana of Wisconsin. And it's right on the way. Don't hock a loogie in here.
I'm not going to hock a
right into the garbage
here.
can. Into the garbage can.
It's some more of the flavor came back from.
Wash it out with some chocolate.
I've eaten all of my chocolate.
What would you like? A Twix? 100 grand?
Twix. Oh my god.
There you go. Just wash it down. Here's some Twizzlers. Here's some Twizzlers. Wash it down with Twizzlers.
No. Ugh.
I think that to me, one of the reasons I love Halloween so much is I do love the pretending. I think that people who are in theater tend to like Halloween a lot because we get to play Halloween so many times throughout the year, but this is fun because everybody gets to play it. And it's just a blast and a half for us. So no matter what, I did bring up, there was a scientist who...
There was a scientist, huh?
There's a scientist who ranked the best candies of all time, and I'd like to go through the list real quick.
What's the method? What is the methodology used?
Sure. So let's see.
Thrillist
let's
a
see.
scientific publication?
It is.
I don't see the word scientist finds best Halloween.
Andy Kryza is the guy who's the scientist who figured this out. New takes the wax lips. I don't know if he tells what his methodology is with this, but there's a lot of stuff on here. So, okay, we're going to start from 31. To him, there are 31 Halloween candies
Good Lord.
that belong on this list. And it starts with Smarties, which I would consider a staple of Halloween, but it's the one I wanted the least. It's like, oh, you've got some chalk? You can just hold
That's
on.
about as sour as I go, would be those Smarties, probably.
Next on the list is Airheads, which you just had.
Ugh, no.
This is basically less delicious, lighter Laffy Taffy, but without the sense of humor or sense of identity. Will I go out of my way to eat them? Probably not.
Do you
Will
wanna
I
make-
willingly get these sugary sheets stuck in my teeth when I find them in my trick-or-treating pillowcase? Definitely.
Have you read this already? This
No.
list. What do you who do you think ends up in the top 3?
Snickers, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups,
Snickers and Reese's peanut butter cups. So-
Skittles. You gotta have one fruity, and you gotta have 2 chocolate.
I feel like there's a good chance that Snickers isn't even in there.
Really?
Within the top 3, maybe. Yeah, probably.
So what do you think is replaced with it?
No, I think you're right. Unless Tootsie Rolls get in there.
They're on the list, but there's no way that they are.
We don't know what methodology they're using to quantify greatest, right? Because
if
if we're taking
Sm-
greatest
but
of all
here's the thing.
time, Tootsie Rolls have had a much longer.
But they're not greatest. Just
career.
because they're there doesn't mean they're the greatest.
I'm not saying that they are. I'm trying to guess at the methodology that this scientist
Here's the thing.
did.
Smarties at 31, the dead last on the list, says to me, I take into account a lot of Halloween candies.
Yeah.
But their longevity isn't the thing that gives them like priority. Just based off of that.
Yeah. No, I get the sense that we're gonna curve up towards chocolate.
Yep, I agree.
That we're getting the really sour, like, yep, that's fine, but no one really thinks about this candy all day long. It's a novelty candy. Smarties are Airheads are definitely a novelty candy.
I know one person who prefers sour candy over everything, and so he'll go and he'll like pick out the warheads and stuff like that. I don't like him very much, so that's the way it is. Jolly Ranchers is in at 29, Sour Patch Kids at 28, which says to me he is looking at all eras of candy. If within 4, you've got Smarties and Sour Patch Kids, which is a modern candy. Smarties, an old school candy. Runts, Blow Pops.
Yeah, we're kind of in the same zone right now, aren't we? Until now.
And here's our first chocolate, Whoppers.
Yeah, Whoppers and Milk Duds can go fuck themselves.
Well, Milk Duds is next on the list.
Yeah, they both can go fuck themselves.
Followed by a Milky Way, Laffy Taffy, and then Nerds. There's an era for Nerds.
Yeah, but I thought Nerds would belong further back with the rest of the kind of sour and sweet candies.
See, you're thinking that like there's some kind of rhyme or reason to where they fall like on the list.
I think there is.
I don't think so. I think like, I mean, there have been some chocolates there. And now he's saying Nerds. I think the thing that's tough about Nerds is because they have to come in those little boxes.
Yeah.
Like I always wondered, like, if you have anything that's wet, right? Or like the cardboard box of Runts of Nerds will kind of wear away on you. And that sucked.
Wait,
These are
what?
Green.
Oh, because they're
it's cardboard,
sugar.
not chocolate.
Yeah. Well, I'm really glad that at least they can acknowledge that the lowest of the chocolates are the ones that are filled with malt.
Yeah, agreed.
Fuck that
I
shit.
agree. Skittles at number 20.
Oh,
so
wow.
my fruit is out of the mix of the first 3.
Torpedoes that.
And you guess what could be maybe on the top of the list? That'd be a fruitier candy,
I am fingers crossed for Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
which will for sure be up there.
Yeah, I mean,
and a Snickers.
Yeah.
But there's got to be a fruity one up there.
Maybe it's Gummy Bears.
Maybe. Let's find out. Payday, Haribo gummies. Okay, so we didn't quite get there. Junior Mints. Junior Mints
That
at
surprises
17
me.
is like halfway on the list.
That surprises me.
Me too.
That's even on the list. Because to me, Junior Mints are not Halloween candy. They're movie theater candy. Mm-hmm. That's what they are. Mm-hmm. They don't belong on a Halloween list.
I also wonder if he takes Reese's Pieces and separates those from Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
I also just don't think there's nearly as big of a draw for Junior Mints as they lead us to believe.
Right, it's because the boomer generation is dying.
Yeah.
The ones who love them.
Yeah.
Then Junior Mints are followed by Twizzlers.
That makes sense.
Then a Baby Ruth.
And we're going up. Right,
Yep, we're
basically.
moving up. M&M's, flavored Tootsie Rolls.
Are they
at number
separating?
13.
Are they saying all M&Ms under one category? Or are they saying
let's
just
see.
plain M&Ms?
Especially if they're the peanut kind or the peanut butter kind. So all M&Ms fall under the M&M category.
I strongly disagree with flavored Tootsie Rolls.
Really?
That should not be on this list at all.
The fruities? Oh, I love the fruit punch ones. Oh my God, they're
To
good.
me, that's like, oh, my mom went and got soda for all of us. Yeah, she got our family brand. Like,
Gotcha.
yeah, she couldn't even get RC Cola. She had to get a fucking.
Number 12 is the Heath bar, which you'll like this. In fact, this reminds me of your nephew. Okay. The Heath bar makes you feel like a little British schoolboy with its toffee butteriness. It will make you look like one when your teeth eventually fall out from all the toffee you have lodged in your molars for weeks on end. It's a small price to pay for a brittle little piece of perfection. Because I think that your nephew looks like a little British man.
I never saw it until right now. I understood immediately how, like, yeah, he could be a little Lord Fauntleroy, couldn't he? He really could be. We got to get him a blue sailor's hat with a ribbon and some, like, shorts, the shorts that they make British boys wear for some reason.
Yep.
With tall socks.
Right. Okay. Number 11. Oh, how did we not bring this on the list? Starbursts.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. We're getting into familiar territory now. Right? I would think that these would belong up there because Starbursts go with a lot of stuff.
The worst thing that can happen to you is you get the Starburst 2-pack, right? It's 2 squares next to each other. You open it up, and it's double lemon. Forget that. Have you ever made a Starburst taco?
Oh, with the fruit roll-up? You've talked about
Not
it.
even a fruit. It's just, I've talked about where you warm it up in your hand and then you smush it down. And then the red one, the cherry, that becomes the meat. And then the orange is the cheese.
I'm all about the pink lemonade.
I would love to make you one of these, but it has so much of me having to work it with my own
I don't want
hands.
something that you've just squished in your like you made
You love
something.
like
I
this taco.
made this for you, Tucker. Yeah, no. Unless
Maybe
I
in
can,
the future.
Unless I can like do what you do for kids where you pretend to eat it.
Nom, nom, nom. Okay, number 10, Hershey's bars.
Oh, wow.
Straight up like
Just straight up
classic
Hershey.
chocolate.
Okay.
Now this looks like it'll include cookies and cream. It'll include the almond ones. So like Hershey's is in there.
Hershey's. And I mean, that's like World War II staple era chocolate, isn't it?
Now this answers the question. Reese's Pieces is on its own.
That would make sense.
Uh-huh.
Because I think they are obviously a combination of M&M's and Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Do you know that when Spielberg made E.T., they approached M&M and they're like, we don't want to be associated with a weird alien movie. And so Reese's was like, hey, we'd love that.
It's because of E.T. that I
Right.
got into Reese's Pieces in the first place.
And like that catapulted Reese's Pieces.
I'm a little disappointed we don't have any right now, actually, now that I'm thinking about
You want
it.
another peanut butter cup?
No, I'm good. I've had so much chocolate.
I know.
I've had so much chocolate.
See, I know I just have to put it in front of you.
I you know that experiment where they put a marshmallow in front of a kid and they say if you wait you'll get 2 marshmallows.
Yep.
I would have failed every single time.
One more roll.
They would have put it in front of me and I would have eaten it without knowing what the rules were.
Okay, 10 Hershey's bars, 9 Reese's Pieces, 8 the Nestle Crunch. Now, this is bullshit.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Reese's or Hershey's bars, Reese's Pieces, Nestle Crunch, followed by Mr. Goodbar. This
Mr.
list is
Goodbar is
wrong.
bullshit.
It's wrong. Wrong.
Mr. Goodbar shouldn't be on this list.
The snack so delicious that simply calling it Good Bar seemed like a sign of disrespect.
It's basically just a Hershey's bar with peanuts in it.
Yeah, right. The 100 Grand is next, which we both had today, which was ultra caramely.
I really dug it though.
Yeah.
I gotta consider it more in my rotation.
Okay, so then
Usually, if I'm looking for chocolate and caramel, though, I'm
Yeah.
going for Milky Way.
number 5 is the Butterfinger, which I feel like because of the Simpsons is the reason I'm into the Butterfinger because the summer that they did the Who Shot Mr. Burns,
Yeah.
you had to buy Butterfingers to like get like clues
Yep.
and stuff like that.
Oh, and it
And they launched the Butterfinger BBs.
It is a singular candy bar, chocolate bar, candy bar.
The Butterfinger would be a candy bar.
Candy bar. Okay.
Candy bar.
Yeah, because it's not pure chocolate.
Right.
But it is so distinct. Nothing comes even close to tasting like it.
Right.
Like there's some crossover between a couple of chocolate bars on some level, but nothing tastes even close to it.
It's you bite into it and you're like, God, I wish there were more chocolate on this because the amount of toffee in here is bullshit.
I was gonna say, what is it? It's toffee, and what else is in there?
Just chocolate, right?
It's just chocolate and
Yeah.
toffee. That's it.
And it's flakes, like toffee flakes.
Yeah.
Number 4, Kit Kat. We didn't even talk about.
Oh fuck! And did we even say Twix yet?
Not yet.
Okay, so now it's
So,
it's
yeah.
easier to pull it
So
apart
it's
now.
gonna be Twix,
Reese's
and then
Peanut
Reese's
Butter
Peanut Butter
Cups.
Cups and Snickers.
Snickers, yeah.
Those are our top three. Without
If it's a
seeing
Three
yet.
Musketeers, I will eat this coffee cup.
Oh my God, wouldn't that be the worst thing in the world?
And I like Three Musketeers, but I wouldn't.
I don't.
You don't?
And you know what? Did we? Oh, Milky Way was way back there.
Yeah.
So they got rid of.
I
they
love
burned-
Milky Way.
They burned off Milky Way.
Or Rolos. I love Rolos.
Okay. Snickers is number 3,
Oh, damn.
followed by Twix.
Okay, come on, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Yes!
Reese's Peanut Butter Cups takes the win. And written by our scientist Andy from Thrillist. Not only is it the greatest candy out there, it's
Yep.
also one of the greatest snacks, period. The
Yep.
perfect alchemy of peanut butter and chocolate. And it's so versatile, especially at Halloween. Are you devouring the mini with its jagged chocolate edges, the medium cup in all its one biteable glory, or the pumpkin, which serves as a vessel to get as much sugary peanut butter in your mouth as possible? It's your lucky day. There's no way to go wrong eating a Reese's.
I agree.
Delightful.
They've just validated this entire list, even with the
Oh.
things that we thought were wrong.
That's just wonderful. Oh, isn't that just great?
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we've gotten that deep into all of this, I want to end with a throwback to a previous episode we had talking about the greatest comedies of all time.
You're trying to get revenge from me.
No. This it has
Dick
to do with the fact-
Tracying you.
You and I both agreed about Airplane having to be on the list.
Yes.
Of one of the greatest of all times. Tucker, I'm ready to blow your mind. So Jim Abrams, Jerry, and David Zucker recently put out an oral history of the making of Airplane. And if you get the Audible, it's not only like it, you know what an oral history is, right? Where it's kind of read in that format.
Yeah.
But they actually have like Bill Hader talking about how this has influenced him, Weird Al Yankovic, Julie Haggerty, David Hayes. It's got all of these people, and then a couple of them are just read by actors who, you know,
Yeah.
we couldn't get Lorne Michaels to give us a single line of dialogue. It starts with these guys essentially learning about what, you know, zany theater is, and none of them had a background in it. They were just kind of class clowns. And the Airplane movie started at the University of Wisconsin with these two guys from Milwaukee and then a guy from St. Paul. So it's no wonder we like it so much. It's got a Midwest flair to it.
Okay.
But they go through talking about how they formed the Kentucky Fried Theater and then moved to LA and started the Kentucky Fried Theater out there. They talk about one of the sketches that they had in the show, which I think is one of the most brilliant sketch comedy things I've ever heard of. So they do both video pieces, and this is an era where like you had to have it plugged in, like you had 3 extension cords plugged in to like videotape something, and then you have playback on a machine. So one of them talked about going to Chicago and seeing this weird show where it could only seat 40 people, but you all sat on a giant waterbed together. And then there's a television at the other end of the theater. So it's like you're in someone's bedroom and they've got a TV. And then you watch sketches on this TV while you laid on this waterbed. And they're like, it's so weird. But one of the sketches they did is the audience, from their perspective, they see a man and a woman sitting on a couch, but they are facing away from the audience towards the back of the theater. And on the back of the theater, there's a television on a cart, and there's a newscaster pre-taped reading, you know, the news from the night. And, you know, like 4 children were, you know, saved today after falling into a gator pit. And they're doing this. And then the guy, you know, kind of, you see him put his arm around the girl, and slowly but surely they stop paying attention to the newscaster and they start like making out, and like it's, you know, simulated like heavy petting and stuff like that. And at one point, the newscaster is like, and then he stops and he just starts watching them make out, right? Like, and then he nudges over, and like one of the mechanical guys leans into the screen, and they're watching this guy and girl go at it. And at the end of the sketch, they simulate fellatio, like she simulates fellatio on the guy. Now, this guy is David Zucker. It was his cousin Melanie who is doing this part. And so because they were a small little group of
he
sketch
and
comedy-
his cousin
yeah.
were
But
making
they-
out?
But they never actually, like, they don't, it's like simulated, like, you know, like a lot of like deep hugging and stuff. So it looks like they're making
Still,
out.
though, okay.
But like it's his cousin.
Okay.
And he goes,
Interesting.
And in the oral host, I'm telling you, it's on Audible. It is hilarious, especially if you're into comedy. You're learning from the greatest comedians of all time, like the people who defined a genre of filmmaking. So one night, David Zucker's parents are in the audience. This is when they're in LA, as well as his cousin Melanie's parents are in the audience. And it's the first time he's ever really thought about like, oh, this is messed up that this is like my cousin playing this part along with me. But he's like, okay. So they get done with the end of the sketch and he goes, the lights don't go out. And he's starting to panic, right? Because they've just done this big thing and like the lights aren't going out. And Jim Abrams, one of his partners, walks out and he goes, ladies and gentlemen, it's a very special night for us here because I'd like to acknowledge the fact that David Zucker's family's here. Could you please stand up? And so they stand up and everyone gives applause and goes, and a lot of people don't know this, but Melanie is David's cousin and Melanie's parents are here. And you just like, you can imagine how these guys just understood what something funny would be, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't meant to be hurtful or distasteful. It was meant to get every single moment of comedy that they possibly could.
Oh shit.
They also talk about how when they discovered what a running gag or like a blackout gag was. And so the first they're like, we had this series of blackouts and the first one was called oh God, what was it? The first one was called like a fountain. And one of the guys walks out and strikes a pose and then blows like water through his front teeth, you know, like to be a fountain. And then the next one was somebody and they're standing there and they're like someone waiting for a bus and they're standing there and they look at their watch and then they look down, blackout. And the last one was, ladies and gentlemen, never before seen on stage, a pair of shoes. And then they left the spotlight on a pair of shoes for like 3 minutes. And I wish I could go back. And if you've never seen, have you ever seen Kentucky Fried Movie?
I have it on VHS, but I haven't watched it yet.
You should really watch it because those guys took a bunch of stuff that they had been doing, kind of creating at the time and worked out. They also include with it the 14 rules of comedy that they created for themselves. And anyone who's out there writing something right now needs to listen to these rules of comedy because they are incredibly thought out and really nice. The last little piece that I want to leave you on is something that I thought was just, chef's kiss, like perfect for this. They were talking about all the things that they had to do to make Airplane perfect, which includes the fact that Airplane is a direct parody of a movie called
Airport.
No.
Isn't it?
No, so Airport is a disaster movie, right? And so it's all these disaster movies. Oh gosh, now I can't remember. It's called like Zero High and then like exclamation point. And it's a movie from the 50s about an airplane where people get sick from eating the food on the airplane.
Okay.
And like the pilot gets sick and so they have to find someone who can pilot and land the plane and blah, 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 blah. And then they take aspects of Airport and then Airport and then Airport 75. And then, there's Terror in the Skies and all these other things. But literally they took the exact same plot. So they talked about reading through the script and saying like, well, we'll add a joke here and here and here. And they bought the rights for $2,500 to this like B movie. And the only reason that they even saw this movie to begin with was they would do a lot of commercial and television parodies in their live stage show. So they would hook up what essentially was the old school VCR that was a gigantic machine, reel to reel, and tape overnight television so that they could look back at the commercials and stuff like this.
Okay.
And that's where they saw Zero High in the they found this movie and they started watching it and they're like, well, yeah, this would be ripe, perfect. And so they've even taken the lines out of that. Like there was direct dialogue, like we have to find someone who didn't eat fish for dinner. Like that was a direct line that they pulled from the other thing.
That's crazy. I had no idea.
Oh my God, Tucker. It is so good. And you can understand why this movie was so important. And these guys had never done anything like that. In fact, they got a meeting with John Landis after they saw him on The Tonight Show. And one of them called up the distribution company that was distributing a movie called Schlock, a low-budget horror movie that John Landis had made. He said, "Can I get that the director's number from you?" He's like, "Okay." So they called John Landis, and he goes, "How did you get this number?" He's like, "Well, the distributor gave it to us." And he goes, "They gave you my personal number?" And he was mad. And so he finally agrees to have lunch with him. They sit down. And he goes, "Well, you got to have a screenplay." And they go, "What's a screenplay?" And he goes, "Well, it's the order, it's the shots and this." And he's like, "Oh." And he goes, "Listen, I'll give you one that you can look at." And he had this script in the back of his car since 1966. This is the late 70s. And it was An American Werewolf in London.
Oh.
And so they use the template. Like, so if you go through Airplane and An American Werewolf in London, the scenes are almost the exact same length, with the idea that, like, well, they were just copying that format so closely, but putting their own stuff into it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is so genius.
Hilarious. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So it's really good. And also, have you ever sat through the credits of Airplane?
Yeah, but it's been forever, so
Oh
I
my
can't
God.
remember.
They have got hidden jokes everywhere. And it's not like a blooper reel.
Okay.
In the credits themselves, there are things like author of A Tale of Two Cities, Charles Dickens.
That's it makes me think of Monty Python at the same time, right?
I was thinking while I rewatched Airplane last night now that I finished the audiobook. And by the way, it's called Surely You Can't Be Serious, the truth story of the making of Airplane.
One of my favorite jokes. I am serious, and
Stop calling me
Shirley.
But I was watching Airplane last night, and I thought to myself, this is the closest American equivalent to Monty Python.
Oh, for sure. I would 100% agree with that. The only other thing that comes kind of close would be like Mel Brooks.
Right.
But
his is
still
different.
His
right?
is still different, and it's very much wrapped in
His
the
is very
Yiddish theater, vaudeville,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. That kind of joke. But very very much. I remember in the 6th grade, me and my buddy Travis Lilleberg. That was when we both first saw Airplane for the first time. Heard about I had already seen like the Naked Gun movies or stuff, so I kind of knew the style of that type of comedy. But when I saw Airplane, I thought, oh my God, this is where it all came from. And he and I wanted to write our own movie that was like that. And I don't remember if we ever titled it, but he and I were the two characters, and we were supposed to be these like bumbling detectives or something like that. And every day during science period, when our classes would merge and we'd get seated next to each other, we would pass joke ideas back and forth and just compile them in a big list.
Oh, that's awesome.
I wish I still had them. I remember at one point, our characters like got onto the space shuttle and then accidentally ignited it while we were in the seats, and so ended up going into space. I can't remember how we got to that point. It was just a bunch of non sequiturs of what if we had this happen to us? That's a great idea. What if we had this happen to us? But that's as far as it ever got. But as far as it ever got.
I wish you could pull that out and then do it as adults. I would love to watch that.
That'd be amazing.
I'd also love to watch just video footage of you making Resurrects. like you know how they made the movie The Room?
Yeah.
They made The Disaster Artist, which is
Yep.
about making the room.
Yep.
I'd love to see you and all of your friends as adults reenacting what it was
God.
like to make Resurrects.
I have thought about now with all the tools available with AI and things, like if I went and took the raw footage, like could I make like an amazing like 15-minute crazy movie out of all of it, right? But I think I want to just not do that.
Just let it like
Let it go.
die.
Let it go. We don't
Yeah.
need to bring it back up.
That's going to wrap it up for today's show. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to help us continue to produce new episodes each week, visit jjmeetsworld.com, where you can donate to our Patreon, pick up some swag at the merch shop, or follow our link to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. You can also follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all the sites the cool kids are using these days. JJ Meets World is produced every week by Tucker Lucas. You can find out more about Tucker's work by visiting moonbasemaria.com. If you want to get in touch with your host with the most, check out linebenders.com, where you can find direct contact info for JJ or booking information. Joke's on you, Tucker. There were razor blades and all that candy.